plan to keep improving it, but it's time to move on. Since many people from the audience agreed on the result, we're leaving the run animation as it is now and will continue working on it when polishing all animations in the future. We were happy to see positive comments about combat animations. In one of the next videos, we'll talk about combat in detail and share our plans for improving it. In addition, we realized that the audience would be interested in a devlog with Q&A. In it, we'll be able to tell you more about the development team, whether the game will have animals, whether there will be a mystery, provide information about the release, and a lot more. We'll make a separate video where we'll answer all the questions under the previous video. You can also write additional questions under this video. We've seen a few comments about flickering shadows, and people asked how much are we planning to show the same part of the jungle. Today, we'll share our plans, show you the current result of working on locations, and let you know when you'll see new locations. In the game's announcement, we told you that we'll try to make the most of the purchased textures to speed up the development process and spend less money. However, with the growth of our team and the level of expertise, we came to understand that handmade buildings look far more interesting and of better quality than off-the-shelf solutions. Currently, our team is in the process of creating unique buildings and locations that will be in the first game. A few months ago, there was a video on the official Russian language channel Save the Pirate, where a historian analyzed 22 forts from Sea Dogs. He explained their strengths and weaknesses from a tactical point of view and how historically accurate they are. Based on this analysis, we designed our first fort in Corsairs Legacy that we'll show in a separate video. We tried to apply a similar approach to every structure that we design. We're not showing the main game locations until they're fully ready. In September, we plan to make a gameplay video where you would be able to see most of the graphics and parts of locations. However, now it's time to explain the strategy pursued by our team in the process of developing locations. In Sea Dogs, the land gameplay consisted of space-limited locations with loading screens each 10 to 20 seconds while the character moves from point A to point B. If the character was outside the city, the player had no understanding of the island's layout and they had to go on forums and search for maps of paths that all look the same. In fact, the island is a set of rooms that have no geographical relation to each other, and after the point of transition between locations is reached, the game teleports the character to another room with decorations that give the impression of a continuous path. The solution chosen by developers at that moment was forward-looking. It allowed minimalizing technical requirements of the game and reusing the same locations in multiple places. The sun always stays in one place, so a day-night cycle is changing when going between locations, and at the time players were fine with that. In 2021, such an approach is obsolete and very undesirable. Due to this, we abandoned the concept of a set of locations and decided to design the island as a whole, making one location with a minimal number of loading screens. The task of creating a full-fledged open world has many complications, one of which is to ensure stable FPS and minimize the requirements necessary for the game to work. Shadow flickering seen in the game footage is due to the need for increasing shadow render distance, which leads to high GPU load. Currently, we're concentrating on creating a single technologically efficient approach to making whole islands that would show good results for graphics and optimal use of PC resources. In the first game, Barbados will become our reference model. After the release of the game, we'll collect player feedback, make additional changes to graphics optimization, and after that, we'll be able to use ready-made and well-proven technology to create new islands. Here's an example. We don't place each palmer bush separately. We define zones that should be filled with plants, set parameters of distribution and quality of textures, and the game engine does the rest. Nevertheless, we spent a couple of months carefully making a level design for locations, creating interesting landscapes, beautiful scenery, and a comfortable view from different points of the map that will give the player the ability to see key landmarks and navigate. We want to bring the player's perception of games about pirates to the next level. We use a dynamic sun that changes its location based on time of day and creates unique lighting. We also implemented dynamic weather that adds nice visual and sound effects to the gameplay. These features don't allow to programmatically calculate the location and appearance of each object's shadow on a map once, which leads to high GPU load. However, we think that these seemingly little things create an atmosphere for the player and increase engagement in the gameplay. Currently, we're at the stage of finalizing an appearance of the game's main locations and their optimization. The next step will be to work on increasing the graphics quality and vibrancy of the game world. Right now, you can see how the game looks in the current state of development. It doesn't have graphical post-processing. Our strategy is to be fully open and honest with players. That's why we made a strategic decision to not make a pretty promo video before the release. Instead, we'll make a gameplay video and spend all of our efforts on ensuring that the visuals players will see in the video and the game itself look the best. On our official Russian language channel, Save the Pirate, we talk about everything related to the pirate era. We try to follow all the news on the subject, and we'd like to share them with you. We don't make news digests because that's outside of our channel's format, but we think the viewers wouldn't mind to receive information in the form of short sections on the devlogs. What do you think? For example, in June, information appeared that Assassin's Creed IV Black Flag will get a story sequel in the form of an animated series. In July, there was an investigation posted on video game website Kotaku. It talks about the development hell in a team of the video game Skull and Bones. 120 million euros were spent on the game and it still doesn't have a final concept, so the game can't be expected to release earlier than 2023. We have a video on our channel where we made predictions on the game's current situation and perspective. It then was totally confirmed by Kotaku's investigation. Well, it seems like Corsairs Legacy, with its clear plan and solid concept, will be pleasing fans with new releases up until 2023. Now let's move on to development. We analyzed all the feedback and spent a few days to polish the run animation chosen by you, but it was worth it. We got the result that our development team is happy with, and we think that it finally looks great. Drum roll. This is our collaborative result. Just a month and the run animation is done. Let us show you what we started with. This is the third version from the teaser. Now you can see the difference between the version from the previous video and the upgraded version that we consider final. Are you happy with the result? We'll be waiting for your feedback, and as always, we made a poll in the community tab. Because of the long process of making this run animation, we're a little behind schedule. We understand that in the first game character movements could be rough at times, but we think that right now it's more important to finish all animations for the game and then polish them over time. Nevertheless, an outside perspective allows us to better understand how good the animation is. We make every character movement from scratch for the game. Now let's look at some combat animations that are already in the game. Cutting Attack version 1 and Cutting Attack version 2. Thrust, Circular Attack, Striking Attack, Block, Parry, Feint, a couple of idle combat animations, 3 of them. We'll show animations for characters without a weapon in the game interface. We can't wait for your feedback in the comments. Now it's time to talk about the growth of Corsairs Legacy community. On our official website, we plan to post a catalog of all items from the game with their descriptions and the ability to leave comments underneath. Every quest will also get an official page with a short description and the ability to discuss it. In this way, the players will be able to find all information in one place, and will be able to properly make changes to the game while analyzing feedback from the website.